Hello everyone, I'm Teal. I'm going to go over some details about a game on the horizon. I've been interested in this game because I enjoy playing Dark Souls and games similar to that experience. And I was privileged enough to be given an early access beta key by the developers. This is what we can expect from the upcoming Souls-inspired Mortal Shell game, expected to be released later this year. If this hasn't been on your radar and you like new, gritty action RPGs with a focus on difficulty, then let's check out these details. We're going to cover what I feel best shows the game we can expect when fully released here. The world defined has a Dark Souls inspiration. The combat and items are very different. The tutorial zone is bleak and devoid of color. We are a being, a foundling, without a particularly good moveset, without stamina, and without the abilities to parry or perform special attacks. Here we are taught the basic controls of the game and some of the mechanics at play. One of the notable features of your character is the ability to harden. That is, to turn to stone and freeze in place. While hardened, you do not take any damage. Any attack you take will break you free. This will generally make your attacker recoil as they have just hit solid stone. It can be used as a save your life from being skadooshed with a heavy attack, or as a great offensive tool to keep you in tight near the enemy, instead of relying on dodging iframes. The dodge system is interesting. It felt like it created combat that was a dance, like that of Witcher 3. The character's movement, the amount of iframes you are given, and the way the camera moves around. It can be a bit difficult to get in the flow of, but when it works really well. Because of the enemy AI and the feel of dodging, I would not compare the combat to that of Dark Souls. Sure, it's punishing and brutal and you're going to die a lot, but aside from that design element, the combat is something different entirely. The enemies that we are shown have fairly simple AI, with each character having 2 or 3 attacks. Even the boss only has 6 abilities, if you're counting as opening, gap, closing, smash your face attacks. Though they are simple enemies, their attacks are brutal, and you can find yourself crumpled to the ground like some rag doll for the ludus to play with. It's also incredibly easy to get overwhelmed. Because of the power that enemies pack when they hit, if you get comboed by a couple, you're out. Again, you're gonna have to get used to getting smashed to oblivion in this game and seeing that death screen over and over and over again. We have tools to help us fight the revolution, or so to speak. You inhabit shells, which are unique characters to play as. Each of them would be in their own class, with the shell Harros being a warrior, the shell Teal being a thief, and more unknown shells giving us all the variety in the world. A predetermined world, not yours. Can we get a sweet redhead that defiles the corpses of our enemies to supply her with the power for blood magic? Well, I'll keep dreaming. You are first introduced to Harros outside of the tutorial, slumped over at the top of a hill. He has high health, limited on stamina, and uses a 2-handed sword. While using the sword, you have the special ability of pulling a spear from where the sun don't shine and jabbing the enemy with the might that would make Poseidon quiver. But this all comes at a cost of resolve. Resolve is a resource that is used for both special abilities as well as your post attacks. It is a little yellowish meter above the health that slowly builds every time you hit an enemy. Harros has a maximum of 4 resolve, while Teal has a maximum of 2. Either of the given shells can parry, and oh, is it satisfying to repose afterward. It's a fairly forgiving window, and it deals awesome damage. Riposting requires 1 resolve, while special attacks require 2 resolve, so don't expect to parry the world in this game. You encounter Teal later, laying with the dead in a burial tomb. Hey, what do you call a skeleton that won't get up in the morning? Lazy bones. Well, Teal's a skeleton. As is with games like Divinity Original Sin 2, skeletons heal with poison. Well, kind of. We'll get to that in a second. Teal has high stamina and low health, which means he's squishy, but can pull out long combos and inflict poison that can wreck groups of enemies. Next to Teal, we find the hammer and chisel weapon, which really suits him more than the slow heavy attacks of the sword. It's a dual-wield set. When you upgrade it to unlock the special ability, you can spray a fan of knives around him. Upgrading to unlock stuff? Oh yeah! This game has an interesting progression system. You don't level up. You play as the lame creature that inhabits other things, remember? You can unlock abilities for each shell using a resource called glimpse and a currency called tar at a lady that is less than waifu material. Most of the abilities are locked because it's just a beta, but the ones we have give an idea of how the characters will play out. There are 4 abilities available in the beta, out of the 10 that each character can have. Teal can become a mean dexterity creature that heals from poisons, unleashes poisonous clouds, takes stamina damage instead of physical, and deals extra damage at low stamina. Harus can become a bigger tank, unlocking a reduced harden cooldown, hardening that lasts longer. Enemies become more likely to drop glimpse after hardening, and picking up glimpse will restore some health. Aside from each shell being able to learn new abilities, their glimpse is shell specific. You can't farm on one to skill up the other. We gotta do this the old-fashioned way. 1 kill at a time. Weapons have a variety of upgrades as well. The hammer and chisel have 1 extra upgrade to the sword, being that you have to find an item to unlock its special ability. Other than that, each weapon can be upgraded at the local ham grocer. Now, of course it's an anvil, a cold and lonely anvil. You can apply acid to increase its strength, you can boost acquisition of a weapon, and you can boost the healing effects of your posts. You can upgrade the damage 5 times, so I think it's fair to say that each upgrade can be done 5 times as well. We don't, however, have access to all of it within the beta. There's also a really cool feature involving items. Each item that you find has familiarity that can be increased by using it. When you are familiar with an item, not only can you quickly see what it is, but you also gain a small additional benefit and a small bit of flavor text. What benefits are worth it? Extra currency off of currency items, extra healing off of healing items, extra glimpse off of glimpse items. Am I a broken record yet? You get the idea. Some benefits are more unique, but usually it's just better at being that item. Having max familiarity on items really helps because oh boy are they stingy about healing items. There are a total of 6 healing items in this beta that respawn on a long timer. 6. That's not enough for Grandma to make it to the bathroom and back. Not only are they incredibly limited, they are all healing over time items too. Which means no quick potions and you're ready to get back in that MMA fight. You're going to be out at least a week. If you need additional healing, you can stop by the shopkeeper outside of the tombs. But be aware, you can't kill him or his kitty. You can, however, pet the kitty. 10 out of 10, best upcoming game of 2020. The beta consists of a tutorial area, a small outside area, and an inside tomb area. The outside area is filled with weak campers out for their Boy Scout badge retrieval, with the exception of 3 beefier boys that can easily ruin your day. The harder enemies are extremely tough to take on more than one at a time, so strategy is involved with how you pull the enemies and the area you choose to fight in if you want to be successful. The inside or tomb area is much more difficult because of the narrow tunnels where you are forced to fight. Probably the worst thing is insta-proccing poison aura that happens from skewered kebab enemies after they rip their heads off. And poison hurts, like trying to pet a belly of a cat, which is to say, it will leave you without an arm. It lasts about 30 seconds, and there is no cure. You just gotta eat that damage, or pop a healing item to counter heal it, which is partially why they are so valuable. There's some really mean enemies that have literal swords for arms and are twice your size, and then you're off to the boss, the enslaved Krishna. He hits like a truck. Once you recognize his very limited moveset, he's easy enough to dance around. He doesn't have different phases per se, but when he hits half health or so, he starts causing icicles to begin falling from the roof. After defeating him, we go on to talk to the less than waifu helper, and that concludes the beta. So there you have it. That's Mortal Shell. The closed beta began today, so be on the lookout for key giveaways from content creators so that you can have your first experience with this game. It's brutal, it's glorious, and it's a whole bundle of deaths. Fun? A whole bundle of fun. I, for one, am quite excited for the full release to see what these developers have come up with. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay cute, and be kind to one another. Bye-bye.